I don't know. Do you know dumb people that are emotionally empaths? Are there any dumb empaths out there?
Very dumb empaths.
That's what I want to know.
You seem like you've seen a lot of shit, but you're dumb as a rock. You know? Is that what you mean?
Yeah. I get you.
I get you.
Yeah. But I don't understand.
You have a lot of worldly knowledge, but you're dumb as shit, man.
I guess, it's like street smarts.
Okay.
Maybe. I think, because there is a thing, you could have street smarts and not have book smarts.
Well, street smarts is a different thing. Empaths are just like, I understand what you're going through,
I don't think that, yeah.
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 But you don't...
That's different than street smarts.
Yeah.
You're right. In fact, I know a lot of empaths who are not street smart. So those are definitely don't have an overlap.
I mean, they get conned a lot, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're too naive.
So it could be a leftover trait from the Neanderthals, but are they very sensitive to pain? Like, they can't take being hurt.
Yeah. Wait, who? The empaths or the I'm so lost.
Well, let's say the empaths now today...
I'm not even sure how empathy got woven in, to be honest.
It just came in.
Okay. All right.
Because you said that they're sensitive, to pain.
Yeah.
But empaths have been also known to be sensitive, like they can't take little scratches,
Oh, you're saying, I see where the connection came from.
Yeah.
You're saying that people who are sensitive to, you're saying that empaths tend to be sensitive to pain also.
Yeah.
And it's sort of that transmutative,
yeah.
If X equals Y and Z equals Y, then X equals Z type of a thing.
We do have X-Men. We have mutants now today that have not powers, but just like really useless powers. Like they can find paper clips extremely well, Think about that.
I'm trying to think how I can make money off of that ability. You know what I mean? There's got to be a way.
They're extra sensitive to like cold,
Yeah. Yeah, we all have dumb superpowers now. You know what I mean?
You're like, and they can hear a car alarm go off. Like my superpower is I can find an arcade anywhere. See, I'm an X-Men.
Yeah. So I think I don't know where to go with that. So I'm going to go back to superpowers. I'm going to go back to
the Neanderthals.
To the Neanderthals. What I wonder about is Neanderthals. I don't think. Do you think they had street smarts? Because they kind of got fucked. You know what I mean?
By the Homo sapiens.
By the Homo sapiens, right? So that's what I think. It's like Neanderthals were super intelligent, but they didn't have street smarts.
Yeah. So they're back in like the caveman times. You see the Homo sapien doing the card thing. Come on, find the lady, find the lady. And the other was like, "Oh, I can win."
Yeah.
Fix the card.
And they dragged the Neanderthal out back. And
oh, you lost. They're gonna have to give me your kneecaps now.
Yeah. Homo sapien logic, You lost. You're gonna have to give me your kneecaps.
Well,
and the Neanderthal was just like, what?
Wait.
That doesn't make sense.
I thought we were betting grapes.
Oh, it makes sense, Neanderthal.
Yep.
It makes sense.
And that's how they all died out.
And that's why we don't have Neanderthals anymore.
Or it's like an Oregon Trail when they're shooting buffalo.
Yeah.
You kill all the buffalo, but you only take 200 pounds of meat in the game.
Okay.
But all the buffalo are dead.
Oh, but you slaughtered the entire... Somehow you only got like a human body's worth of mass out of like a 500-pound buffalo.
They're like, oh my God, you killed them all, and you only took that much.
Yeah, the rest is for the bacteria. I don't know.
For everyone else.
Yeah. It's going to be very
But that's how
interesting.
Homo sapiens survived. We took their kneecaps.
I don't understand the buffalo connection either.
Is
that another transmutative fucking like transitive
no it's just
association rule? If Neanderthals lost their kneecaps, then you get 200 pounds worth of buffalo meat. I don't
that's
follow.
A good saying.
This is how logic works.
Well, it's just you killed them all, right?
Okay,
but to what end, right?
Oh, you're saying, okay,
we killed a Neanderthal, took their kneecaps.
Yeah.
But only the kneecaps.
But to what end? What did we get out of it? Yeah. Well, the thing is, I think we bred with some of them, right? Some of them. Some of them were like, okay, you're a sexy Neanderthal. You're a sexy. So
affirmative to pain.
Yeah.
And know my feelings.
Yeah. You're very emotional, like sexy. So some of them mated.
1-800 Homo sapien.
1-800. Yeah. Yeah, so supposedly a bunch of us have Neanderthal DNA in us, inside of us. I don't know if I do, but I know that you do.
Yeah, I know that you
I can tell. Anyway, so if you see someone who lacks street smarts, but they've got book smarts.
Yeah. That's the
Neanderthal. Yeah.
You're like, I know you do. You've been taking my DNA again.
I've been sampling it, Adam.
Doing that 23andMe again.
And something's off.
You have like...
What planet are you from?
You have a perfect genome.
It's like that movie, The Fifth Element.
Yeah. My God. You have a perfect genome.
He's perfect.
And it's just me.
My God, they do make him perfect. It's awesome, man. Dude, we gotta go. This is gonna be episode 2. We're gonna get Bruce Willis in there. He's gonna be your love counterpart, your romantic counterpart.
I ain't wearing that strap white thing. Adam Dallas multi-pass.
Yes, they know it's a multi. This chair is so broken. Okay.
My God, he's perfect.
He's perfect.
With an orange wig on. Oh my God, Russ.
I'm gonna die laughing here, man. Okay, where were we? The orange wig put me over, man. I can't do it.
I'm gonna do that as a Halloween costume.
Okay. Oh, sorry, guys. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not sorry. No,
I'm not sorry.
Not sorry.
It's
you
cool.
guys take that image and you run with it.
You put it on milk cartons.
Put it on milk. Okay. Anyway, but I want to talk about aliens a little bit.
Okay.
And your DNA. So again, we're going back to 300,000 years ago, right?
Mm.
And basically, 300,000 years ago, dude. That's a lot of time. Like you said, it's a drop in the bucket. We are a drop in the proverbial.
I mean, if you have other entities that live like eons, we're just like the little blip. They're like, oh yeah, that little planet there had life on it at one time.
Yeah.
Not anymore now.
So how many times? Because here's the thing. Supposedly within like, I don't know, if you go like 10,000 years into the future, like a bunch of the shit that we've built would be just gone. Just gone. You know what I mean? I don't know how much. You go 300,000 years in the future, you know what I mean?
Everything's gone.
Like basically everything's gone. You know what I mean? Or buried, at least. You know? I'm curious, like skyscrapers and stuff like that, how much of that would remain. But you look in the past too and you see these massive cities. Just massive, buried under the ground, like massive temples that are just buried. The entire temple's buried. So I'd imagine even our skyscrapers.
I mean, look at Pompeii, right? That was a whole city by a volcano.
Okay.
And the volcano erupted and it's gone.
Yeah.
So if the earth or everything else just shakes and everything else is there, it'll be gone too. Wind erosion, weather, animals, whatever. Buildings, you know. Skyscrapers, like you said, would fall under their own weight. Yep. And then erosion, landslide.
I'm curious to know how long a skyscraper could stand without maintenance.
Without maintenance, so you have wind, weather.
Because the windows will break eventually.
Yeah. I'd give the windows at least 6 years.
Then the interior is going to start to get ripped off.
Because wind going through.
And then you've got steel structure, which is vulnerable to water at that point.
Yeah.
And, right?
Once the support beams start to rust away, and then it starts to collapse under its own weight, it falls over, takes other buildings with it.
Right.
And then once everything's leveled, you got more erosion going down, rusts away.
Right.
Turns back to dust. I'd say even with like 3,000 years.
Yeah.
They would be gone.
Be gone. Just complete vanished.
The only thing that would be standing, though, is something that resists like nature or like growth of plants. Iron. No, not iron. What's something that is really toxic to plants? Copper?
I don't know. Plants can deal with copper, can't they?
I think so. But some, anywhere that you have a high level of metal,
Okay.
plants don't like to grow around it.
Really?
Yeah.
I would think that they would take nutrients from the metal,
Some can. It's hard to say
like
because
minerals and stuff. I don't.
there. I do know there's like this statues.
Okay.
Like big bronze statues. Plants won't grow around them because there's something about the ionized metal
Okay.
that just drives the plant life away. So imagine everywhere there would be a statue, it'd be like a blank open area,
Weird.
right?
So you could have like those vines, those crawly vines,
Mm-hmm.
but the statue would be pristine. Well, not pristine, but it would be free of like growth.
Yeah. Except for damage due to like hurricanes, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But yeah, everything just leveled back to like the Stone Age.
Okay.
No technology. You don't see. I mean, if you dug deep, you would find remnants of a building, but you'd have to dig
Right.
because you have landslides, rain, earthquakes,
Yeah.
all that. So everything we built won't last forever.
Think about that, man. 3,000 years, it's going to be hard to find us. 30,000 years, it's going to be almost impossible to find us. 300,000 years, dude, good luck. You know what I mean? Finding any trace.
You'll be lucky to find like what's it like if we sealed something in metal and like buried it like a time capsule, you'd be lucky to find that.
So what's crazy, man, is you can think of like, you have all these species. We talked about this, kangaroos. We talked about how all these different species might be sort of the next runner-up cephalopods.
Yeah.
You spoke about cephalopods.
Squid.
Squid. What if there was another species that evolved, or even just not even another species? What if humanity specifically, because we're talking about 300,000 years, we're talking about humanity.
Mm-hmm.
What if we evolved to be an advanced civilization? You know what I mean? And then, meteor hit,
Something,
right?
Mm-hmm.
And just wiped us out. I was hearing a guy on Joe Rogan actually talking about this idea that the reason why the Americas was so far behind was because they actually were rivaling us. You look at the pyramids and the statues and stuff in ancient Egypt, ancient Greece. They had similar structures over here with the Maya, you know what I mean, the Aztecs. So they were on par with us technology-wise.
Yeah.
And then they got set back through some sort of massive climate event, was what he was mentioning. So
Oh yeah, I remember hearing about that where they're saying the Mayans were just whole cities were wiped out.
Yeah.
But only the structures were left.
yeah.
So you see the temples and you see like the remnants of a city, but they're like, we're the people, right?
But they basically wiped out enough of the city that they started over, basically.
Yeah.
And so it set them back like 3,000 years. And that's why we were, the colonists came, whatever, they were like so primitive. Where otherwise they would have been probably equal, if not greater, in power to the Europeans.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to see if whatever that was didn't happen to them.
Right.
And they just kept advancing, and then the Europeans come over. Would they still see them as gods? Because they had more technology. They came on boats,
Yeah.
And here they were. Because once a city collapses, what happens to the survivors? They go off to join other tribes, right? They get absorbed into those other cultures.
Yeah, but they lose so much. If your
Oh, yeah.
cities are your centers of knowledge, if you're working out in the fields and the city is destroyed, you know what I mean? You probably don't take that knowledge with you. You know what I mean? I don't know. But
I guess you take your day-to-day knowledge.
I mean, even now, like, look at these microchips that we're building. Look at these computers, these cameras.
Yeah.
Right? If we lose those centers of knowledge, if we got 95% wiped out and we had to basically go back to farming just to stay alive.
Yeah.
Because that's the problem is you can no longer work on technology because you have to work on staying alive.
Yeah.
So you can no longer rely on food coming in externally.
Well, you don't have the luxury of just saying I can go down the street and get a meal.
Right.
Yeah, you have to work for it.
You now have to spend your entire day tending crops, setting traps, hunting, whatever, right? Just to stay alive through the winter.
But it works better when you're in a village because you have that manpower to survive together.
Yeah.
But then again, you have winter and everything else coming at you.
So even if you have people who survive, who know how to build microchips, they don't have. It doesn't take just one person. Even if you have the knowledge, it takes a couple hundred people to build the infrastructure needed to build this type of technology, and then they need support. They need the construction workers to go in and the engineers to go in to build the buildings in which they're built, right?
Yeah.
They need
To house
they
the
need
stuff.
farmers to be supplying food. They need transportation. There's all this stuff that you have to have. So even if you have one guy who knows technology still, there's no point in him training his kids because they can't build computer chips.
Well, in
They're
that
so far away from that.
yeah, in that time frame, if it's back to everything's reset,
Yeah.
it's not useful to say, hey, this is what you do. You get these little tiny gold circuits and you get some silicon sand and you melt that and you lay the
Right.
little tiny grains and the kids are just like, but I'm hungry.
I'm hungry. I got no, but you understand.
But you don't understand.
You could. There's arcades. There's paper clips.
Like airplane. And they're just like, that's nice.
It's nice, but
we want food.
We got to eat. Yeah, if you lose a certain critical percentage of your population, it probably doesn't even have to be 90%. I would imagine if you lose 30, 40, 50% of your population, you basically reset.
To a point.
You know what I mean?
So taking like today's society, let's say a major catastrophic thing happens. 40% of the state is gone. You know, do you want, and your job is no longer here.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, do I want to go where there is work, or do I just want to sit around and build up what I can from here?
I think you start hunting.
You start going out.
I think it goes back to grit. That's what I mean by grit. I think it completely wipes out.
Okay.
You find a gun, or you start laying traps, and you learn how to trap and you learn how to farm. Because you can't, at that point, there's no infrastructure that you can rely on. And you hope that, and you try to make friends with your neighbors.
Yeah.
And build up some sort of a fort or protection because you're going to get raided, right? So
Yeah.
at that point, if you had like a 40% population wipe, you are learning to hunt, learning to farm, and you're arming up to protect yourself against raiders. And it goes back to basically medieval time. Like it's back, you're wiped back 1,000 years.
I would say, okay, let's say that other states aren't as affected. So, you know, you have a mass exodus. But if you're choosing to stay here and make do with what you can with your neighbors, and you're going back to, let's say, not medieval times, but more maybe colonial times.
Yeah.
So you're bartering, you're trading,
Yeah.
you're growing what you can because you own the land.
Yeah.
Now, there isn't going to be a federal government to come in and tell you this is our land now.
Well, governments, we talked about this on an earlier episode. Governments are basically just mature mafia.
Yeah.
So you will have new competing governments arising. You and your friends form a little mini government,
Yeah.
right? And in your neighbors, right? And then raiders are another government.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there's going to be a lot of them. And
Well-
so there's going to be people coming in telling you what to do.
Yeah.
But it's not for your own. You know, they just want to rape you and take your food. You know what I mean?
How I kind of saw it is like, it's just the one state. Everyone else is doing fine, though.
Okay, so you said that you lost 40% of your state, but the rest of the world's fine.
Yeah.
I don't think that. See, that's everyone would just flood back in and take over the property again and fix it. You know what I mean? Like,
True.
Unless there was something like naturally keeping people out. You know, like some sort of like you were isolated for like a virus or something. Like
Virus,
they walled
monster,
you off.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Giant.
Zombies, something, right? Giant.
A giant muffin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shit. Get the fuck away from that muffin.
Just a giant.
That thing is big. I don't want to know what happens
Yeah.
when you get too close to that muffin.
Just lumbering around the hills.
Yeah. What the? Why would why a muffin? Muffins are just. I don't. Come on.
The birds get done with it before anyone else.
Oh man.
Yes.
That's cool.
So everywhere else is fine, but just your state is suffering for no apparent reason.
Yeah. Spartans supposedly they evolved from the Dorians.
Dorians?
Are
That's a
those the
fruit.
guy? Did you watch? So Brad Pitt, Troy,
Oh, Troy. Yes.
because the Greeks are invading Troy in that movie,
Yeah.
and Troy's
Yeah,
another one of
Achilles.
those like Atlantis and those lost cities. Like you know what I mean? Does it exist?
Okay, that's the thing. Atlantis.
Yeah.
Something happens, and they just got absorbed into the other culture, but they lost all their knowledge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So there goes all that great technology.
yeah,
It's like, what's the point? Okay,
Again, all it would take, I think, is to lose just a significant portion of their infrastructure, and they would have to revert to basically tribalism.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And they're trying to teach them about like circuitry, you know?
Yeah. And they're like,
go hunt?
yeah. So anyway, Brad Pitt, Dorians, right? Well, I think he was a Dorian, right? In that Achilles, I think he was a Dorian, right? In that episode. So does that mean he predates the Spartans?
He may, I don't know, because wasn't he like a demigod?
Well, yeah, but he was supposedly a Dorian.
Okay. So a different version of a demigod, or a different race of demigods.
Demigod means half human, so the human half was
because his mom
Dorian.
Dipped him
in
the toilet. I don't know. You know, in the river Styx. She had to hold him by his heel and then dipped him in the river.
Well, she should have found a way to like grab some other part of him.
She got a whole rope and pulley system.
Make sure it goes all the way under, okay?
What kind of mother is this? Like, okay, I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm going to dip you.
Yeah.
And you may become immortal?
We'll see. Maybe. This happens a lot. This is what happens with magical thinking. When you allow yourself to believe things with no sort of consistency. Consistency is the affirmation of reality.
Yeah.
Okay? So that's how we know things... This chair.
Yeah.
That's how we know things are real in life, by the way.
Well, it's testing and seeing the results.
When the results... It's not just seeing the results, but seeing that the results are consistent.
Okay, so back in the day, they're like, hey, we got this neat stuff that looks like liquid metal, mercury, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, we can play with it. We can touch it. Oh, I'm dead. Hey,
let's
that guy
try
died.
that again. Yeah.
Hey, let me check this out. Look at that. Oh, that's that.
Oh, okay.
He's dead.
That's consistently killing people. Yeah. Now I know there's a problem.
What can we do with this? And what did they do? Let's bury our emperor with it, you know?
Yeah.
Let's put it on hats.
Yeah.
Let's make the haberdasher go mad. Where did we learn anything?
I mean, there's so many stuff like that. Did you hear about did you see the video? Joe Scott Answers with Joe. He does a video. I'm talking into the mic was on my nose, so let me say that again. Answers with Joe.
Consistently learning.
I don't learn things. All right, Answers with Joe. He talks about like the radon women or whatever. Like they had factory workers, and it was like a great job for women to go work in this factory with radioactive material.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Like how fucking disgusting are we that we did that? You know what I mean?
We put radioactive uranium into like toys in the 50s.
Jesus Christ.
We never learned.
We thought it was like powerful, like it would somehow like imbue you with power.
Oh.
And so they would put it in makeup. They would do so here's the thing that's what's fucked up about it though, is like the manager would walk down the show floor in like radioactive protective suit.
Yeah, so he's safe.
So clearly we knew it was dangerous, and then the women are like licking they're like pressing it against their like part of the process to like was like press these things together with their lips.
Oh, really?
So they're like ingesting this shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, that and like snake venom, and you know you talked about like the mercury. There's so many things where we just fucking had no clue, and we're like, hey, you know, we can sell this. You know, it's snake venom. We can sell it.
It's just fine.
So again, humans are not like some sort of like noble race.
No,
really fucked up. Yeah,
that's why we haven't been inducted to like a other world intergalactic federation.
Yeah. They're like looking at us and they're like.
They're still playing with mercury.
They're still playing with mercury. Give them a couple hundred years, guys. Okay, maybe a couple thousand. Yeah.
They kind of look at us like, okay, they're still doing the mercury.
They come out. They've got like the and then they're like, ooh, we'll be back.
You know what that does, right?
Yeah. So anyway, the Dorians. Yeah. So I think Achilles was a Dorian, man, and they are supposedly the ancestors of the Spartans. But what I didn't get was that Spartans in the movie, like 300, are like free. They're like a free people.
Well, yeah.
But they're also like slaves.
I thought they were like the special tactical team that was called upon whenever things got really bad.
Like Weapon X.
Yeah. They were the Weapon X of the Greek Empire. And then you had Caesar, who wasn't even there yet.
He wasn't there yet, but he was involved.
Yeah. He would say, hey, yo, I got a problem.
Sending the Spartans and the Dorians and the Trojans.
So the Spartans would come out with their little metal claws.
Yeah.
And they all had antimanium on their bones. Man, history's
Adamantium.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so that's one thing I don't actually understand is, were the Spartans slaves or were they free? How would it be to be a Spartan? So here's another interesting thought. Spartans, if you watch the movie, this is all based off the movie 300. Of course. This is how much we know about it. History. Spartans, but I think this was real, right? That they would actually discard their weak.
Okay, so they would.
I think that was a true thing. And here's what's interesting about that in our society today, okay? There's a struggle between survival of the fittest and diversity. Diversity allows for new traits to be derived, right?
Yeah.
Which can be even stronger than the traits of today. Survival of the fittest selects for the currently most fit traits, but if you go too far with survival of the fittest, if your selection criteria are too strong, you will create a species that is very fit at surviving against that selector, but
nothing else.
But nothing else. So something else comes in orthogonal. Something else comes in from the side, a different selector, right?
Yeah.
And just wipes them out. So, for example, you could come up with a species that is very, very strong in an environment where there is a very, very intense amount of sunlight.
Yeah.
They have dark skin. They produce a lot of melanin, right? But then something comes out, blocks out the sun. You have a nuclear winter. You have a meteor impact or something like that.
Just the sky gets covered. Yeah.
Yeah, sky gets, and sun goes way down, and now suddenly this species is vitamin D deficient, right, and gets wiped out, right? And if you don't have diversity in your gene pool, then what happens is the species gets entirely destroyed. So you want diversity.
Well, that goes without saying, because okay, in today's society, you have the people who draw the plans for the buildings, the architects and whatnot. Then you have the people who build the buildings,
right,
who are adverse to carrying heavy objects and doing manual labor. Right? So you have a combination of the both to build a building. So you have an end result of a magnificently huge skyscraper that wasn't possible like 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah, it's not possible in a purist version of survival of the fittest. Part of being fit is being diverse, and people lose that. People lose that. They focus on like one specific trait. Oh, he's strong. He's more fit.
Yeah.
What about cognitive capacity? So you could have someone who's very cognitively developed, who potentially has the ability to invent new armor, new ballistics, new everything,
new
right?
weapons.
So he may be able to create a species that is more fit in the future than anything even possible today, but he has to survive. And he's weaker from a physical standpoint. So what is strength?
Strength is just it's not the characteristic of a person who can do many things at once. It's the diversity of how we all work together.
Strength is diversity.
Yeah.
You don't have to add a selector because selectors will come. And when a selection event is not happening, you want to be increasing your diversity as much as possible. And people don't think that. People are like, okay, there could be a selection event in the future. We all have to be strong along this vector, as strong as we can.
Yeah.
But then they neglect these other vectors. What if the selection event comes in along these other vectors? What if you're challenged by an alien species that is weak physically, but stronger cognitively?
Well, technologically,
and you've been focusing on the Spartan-like strength. You've been discarding babies who are weak.
It's the warrior wizard mentality. It's like you got to have your wizards and your healers.
Then you come in and exactly. This alien species just obliterates you without even batting an eye.
Yeah,
all your strength is for nothing because you focused on one strength.
Yeah,
one vector. whenever you shouldn't impose selection artificially.
No.
Because you don't know what hidden strengths that baby has that may have saved your species 100 or 1,000 years from now.
Immunity or whatever it may be.
Maybe they carry the last gene in your gene pool that's immune to some virus that's going to wipe you out 1,000 years from now. And by leaving them in your gene pool, you may be a little bit physically weak. You may have some members of your species that are a little bit less dense in terms of muscle mass, right? But they're immune to this virus that comes in and just wipes out everyone else, right? And as a result, you only lose maybe 30% of your population. I'm sorry. Say what you're going to say, man.
It's called, hedging your bets against any type of unforeseeable thing. But that's the thing. We cannot foresee everything that will happen. We don't know what's going to happen, 100,000 years or 300 years. We can predict, movements in like people population, trends and what people like, how people are acting, the violence against other people. We can predict those trends, but when it comes to like the unforeseeable, we just try to do what we can, So it's like we don't know what's going to happen, but we adapt to it. That's our strongest thing, is that we're able to adapt.
And the reason we're able to adapt is because we are diverse.
Yeah, we have these things.
Diversity!
What's the other one?
Live it. Love it.
What's the other one?
Embrace it.
Affirmative action.
Okay.
Yeah. Diversity. Affirmative action.
Diversity is strength.
Yeah. That we all come together and we adapt and we overcome.
Strength along a single vector is retardation. You need to strengthen yourself along multiple vectors. And that means maximizing your diversity and not artificially selecting, because you don't know what actual natural selector is going to come along. And if you didn't prep for the right selector, you're
even if you didn't prep it, you would, like I said, you will adapt. Because you have these...
Well, no, you'll adapt if you're diverse. If you're not diverse, if we do what Spartans do and we throw the babies out that we don't like, you know what I mean?
If you're like the Spartans, you're like...
And then you happen to throw out the one baby that's immune to the virus that you're going to encounter 10 years from now, right? Then you're you can't adapt if you're not diverse. That's the point.
So you're saying the Spartans shouldn't be held up to high standards of like...
Yes,
perfection.
A lot of people look up at Spartan culture and they raise it up on a pedestal as purity, as perfection.
But it isn't.
But it's not. It's strength along a single vector, which is actually weakness along all other vectors, right? True strength is a balance. That doesn't mean you shouldn't pursue physical strength. You should, absolutely. But not at the through the compromise or the loss at the expense of the other strength vectors. Emotional strength. The ability to work together as a species is part of emotional strength. Being able to care for your loved ones so that they can have the time that they need to develop strength is part of emotional strength. Mental strength so that you can see things.
So you're saying that we should...
Vocal strength!
Acting? But yes, you're saying that we shouldn't have Spartan like emblems.
There's nothing wrong with having Spartan emblems, but a lot of those people who put those Spartans up on a pedestal are racial purists, right? And that's a dangerous road to go down, because you are strengthening one specific trait. All you fucking milk drinkers out there. You're strengthening your ability to drink milk, but you're weakening your ability to expose yourself to the sun, right? So there's... You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if we ended up in a world where the sun got hotter and all of us needed more melanin, you're going to regret breeding for only the milk drinkers, right?
But
like,
see, they're trying
that's
to use...
the fucking trait that you selected. You know?
I get what you're saying. They're just using that as an scapegoat.
You can drink milk. I hope that saves you when the radius of the sun reaches Venus. You'll be able to drink milk. Congratulations.
But they're just using that as a scapegoat to say this is how we're strong, right?
Yeah.
So it's bullshit what they're actually doing, and it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
It's like throwing sand into the wind and watching it get into their own eyes.
Yeah. It's just,
They're blinding themselves, so it doesn't really matter.
It's just like that.
Do you stop?
It's literally that. It's literally like that is. I mean, literally. It's literally that. That is literally what it. I don't mean figuratively.
No, it is.
It is literally. It's the same thing.
Do you see a kid playing in the sandbox, throwing sand and getting in his eyes, and then crying? Do you go and tell him, "Hey, what you're doing is wrong"? And he says, "No, I'm doing what's right because I'm strong."
Just opens his eyes up.
Do you crying? Do you stop him after that?
I'm strong. But you let him live, okay? Because diversity. Maybe you'll need immunity to sand, and you'll have a small group of people who are dumb as rocks, but they're immune to sand, okay?
They have sand in their eyes.
They have sand in their eyes.
They cry sand.
They develop like an extra set of eyelids, you know?
They're like lizards.
And they can survive in the fucking Fury Road desert of the future, right? Yeah. So let them be. Just let them be. Strength, man. So that's what's interesting, man. Keep that in mind as you look at the Spartans and you look up to them, is that true strength is in diversity, okay?
Yeah, don't...
We should try to make everyone as strong as we can along every vector that we can. Don't get me wrong. Natural selection is about strength, but just keep in mind that there are different forms of strength, and we need to encourage all of them. Mm-hmm. Now, if you find someone who's weak, that doesn't mean that you don't try to make them stronger, you know? We should try to encourage one another to be as strong as we can along whatever vectors we can. Mm-hmm. So go to the fucking gym, learn how to fight, learn how to shoot, armor up, right? Mm-hmm. Harden yourself, okay? Be strong, right?
But keep your mind open.
Yeah. And something else to fill in that closing line.
Okay.
I don't know.
How do you feel about like the predator culture? Because their thing is all about the strongest hunter survives, you know? They have technology.
Yeah.
And they have their thing about, if I hunt the strongest thing and I kill it.
It's kind of a contradiction, because I would argue that mentality would not have allowed them to develop technology.
Really?
Yeah. I don't think that species could actually truly exist, because you'd have to have people who specialized in cognitive strength.
Yeah, the technology that they were using.
And that would have come at the expense of some time spent hunting, some physical strength, I think.
I think they did make mention that they had another sub-race of predators that were all the technology thinkers.
I think you'd have to have different classes or sects, you know what I mean? Yeah, in order for that to work.
But the warrior, was like the hunter who killed the strongest thing out there, was the strongest predator. So they elevated that class higher.
Yeah.
It's like the UFC fighters, right?
Yeah, it's like I want to be a UFC fighter, man.
You can be a UFC fighter.
I want to, dude. I'm training. But lightweight.
But think about it like this: it's like the people that came together to organize the event, build the arena, do all that, the stuff that they don't want to do. And then they just go out and fight, and then they get elevated.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, I want to raise.
yeah, exactly. The thing is, there's creativity too. So you look at the creatives, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Who, maybe they love spending hours looking at different color palettes. Mm-hmm. I didn't mean to like offend gay people by doing that in a gay voice. There's a stereotype that gay people are creatives, and I just totally hammered that stereotype in. You know what I mean?
It has been hammered in since the late, I would say, 30s.
Yeah.
Because of that time.
So I'm sorry, homosexuals, gay people. I'm sorry.
Well, think of the term.
I do have that stereotype, though. Yeah. I hope that...
Because from that 1930s, it was used as a derogative term. Thank you. That's the word.
Oh, to be creative?
Well, no. To be the word gay.
Oh, yeah.
Because gay meant happy,
Yeah.
And then they're just like, no, we're going to... And then people started using it as like, no, you're being gay, They said it like that.
But did they say, I don't think gay's ever been derogatory.
That...
And I'm going to have to bars and tone that out.
Yeah.
But you know what I said. It's the F word, which is more despicable than fuck, which I won't bleep out.
Because we can allow that one.
Because that one, yeah.
But that means also cigarette back in the day.
But I don't think that... I don't think gay is derogatory. I think gay is the accepted term. It's just like... you'll see jokes about someone and they'll like say like black. They'll call someone black, and they're like, and then
But I mean,
someone will be like, "That's derogatory." You're like, "What? No, that's not derogatory. There's nothing wrong with being black." You know what I mean?
No. I
There's
mean,
nothing
it's
wrong
not
with
like
being
that.
gay.
But when you say it like, "Hey, that was super," instead of saying the word "stupid" or something like that, you put the word "gay" in there.
Oh, the one I'm thinking about is The Office when Michael Scott he calls someone a Mexican.
Oh, really?
and then Michael Scott's like, "Ooh, I wouldn't use that. I wouldn't use that term. Like Mexican's derogatory, right? Obviously, Mexican is not derogatory. Right?
It's
Mexican is a point of pride, especially because people are from Mexico. Like Viva Mexico. They're fucking
You're
proud
Mexican,
of it,
Mexico,
and rightfully so. There's nothing derogatory in that, but to a racist, who thinks poorly of those people.
Yeah,
they would then associate that with a derogatory,
thing or term. Yeah,
when they some eggshells there, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, where they're like, "Oh, that's just so like that,"
Yeah,
and they get down. Anyway, that's how they are. Anyway,
yeah. So the point that I'm trying to make is that there's nothing wrong
Spartans.
with gay. There's nothing wrong with describing someone who is gay as gay. Gay is fine.
Yeah.
I mean, if you use it in a if you add a derogatory connotation to it,
with slurs,
that's different. But by itself, there's nothing wrong with that word, and there's nothing wrong with someone who is gay. There is nothing wrong. There's nothing fundamentally derogatory in that word, so that's fine. And I don't think there ever has been, really. I mean, some people maybe use it that way.
You start using like Harry Potter.
I feel like maybe gays took that word back. It's like we've taken that word back, and we're just going to own it, and it's just like, that's fine. This is a good word. There's nothing wrong with it.
I'm like saying there's nothing wrong at all with anything. I'm like, that's your guys' want to do whatever you want to do.
So I think that there's some words that we've taken back. One that's definitely still very obviously the F word. The other F word is not something that. Yeah.
I want to take back Hufflepuff.
Is Hufflepuff used for something now? Does that mean something?
Muggle.
Muggle?
Yeah.
No, fuck muggles.
We're muggles. Oh shit.
Shit. Fuck wizards.
Yeah, see, just insert fantasy words in your racial tones.
I'm sorry. My geek friends are gonna. I hate Harry Potter, man.
Really?
I fucking hate that series. I hate it. You know what? And you know what? People are coming after the writer now too, right? Because what did she say? She said something. What did she say?
I think it was something like.
Was it about masks or the virus or something?
I can't remember.
All the liberals, man, liberals hate anti-maskers, and I think she said something, and I was like, yes. It was like the anti-maskers against the Harry Potter author. Or the anti-maskers against the Harry Potter author. I was like, yes, you guys fight. I don't know. Yeah.
You were just happy to hear it. What if you're like, I don't care much for you Spartans around here.
That doesn't make any sense. Everyone knows Spartans.
See? See, you just get confused. You're like,
what? That doesn't make any sense.
What?
I'm just going to ignore you.
Then you keep walking down the street, see?
There is something to that, though.
Yeah.
There's something about, there's certain sort of descriptors or tags or labels where it's like you just can't make it offensive because it's so ingrained in people that this is sort of a thing that you look up to that you can't use it offensively. I don't know.
Oh, did you ever see that episode of Flight of the Conchords where the guy he's like, "Oh, I hate you New Zealanders with your outback and your shrimp on the barbie." and he's like, "Wait, you're thinking of Australians?" He goes, "Oh, where's New Zealand?" He goes, "It's right here. It's like a little tiny island right here." And he's like, "Oh, I got nothing against you guys. I hate those Australians, but I got nothing against you guys." They're like, "Oh yeah, sure."
Yeah.
They gave him this whole thing about
what is it about Australians that we always think they're badass? We already said this in another episode. We already did this, but it's right. And we talked about
because everything's trying to kill you down there.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was because everything's trying to. All right. Anyway, Australians. That's something too where it's like I don't think people can ever think of Australians negatively. It's just like they're just so fucking badass. You're just like,
well, that was a prison colony.
That's why. Yeah, that's why. What's interesting is all the Australians you meet, they're just fucking chill ass blokes. You know what I mean? Is bloke the right word? Is bloke an insulting word?
No, you can say bloke.
Bloke's okay.
You're all right, mate. You're
all right, bloke. Hey, bro.
And go down there and get that 44 megahertz.
Get that 44 megahertz, okay? Anyway, yeah, so they're just fucking chill ass motherfuckers. You know what I mean?
Again, like you were saying, diversity. Yeah. A lot of the tribes that originally were part of Australia have actually started to go into the culture of
Australia?
Yeah, British Australia.
That's good. Diversity is good.
But we're losing that culture of like the Bushmen. That's what they're called.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as they're not getting as long as it's, they're just sort of, because there's a certain amount of natural merging that's going to happen, right? Like if the Bushmen are fucking the Australians, right? Then you're going to have some blending of culture.
Again, all society, like they say, all cultures, mixing together and everything. Mm-hmm. We're just going to be semi-tan tone, balding,
Yeah.
Remember that South Park episode where they came back from the future to look for work?
I do, but I can't. All I remember is that premise right there. I don't remember anything else. Just tell me. Give me what's in your head.
Pretty much, they came back in time because the future's so messed up.
Yeah,
and they're like, "Oh yeah, we came back here to look for work." They all look the same. They all have the same skin tones, no hair, and people are like getting mad because they're taking their jobs.
And the futurists are taking their jobs.
Yeah, they took their jobs.
It's so true.
Yeah,
it so happened.
But that's the thing, we start mixing with our future selves.
Yeah.
And then we become so inbred.
Well, that's how you adapt, though. The thing is, I don't think it'll actually happen like that.
Adapt through inbreeding.
Yeah, it's how you adapt to inbreed. No, it's exactly the opposite of how you adapt. That's the whole point. Another shining example of why diversity is good. You get bad mutations in one entity, one creature, one instance, one human, right?
Yeah.
And if they breed with someone else who's too close to them, they stack up.
Really too close.
Really too close. Those bad mutations stack up real quick.
Yeah.
You get a really good glimpse at a first-hand example of why that's fucktarded. You know what I mean?
You know the famous painting of the... he was the king of Spain.
Okay.
He was really inbred. His chin was like out to here.
Really weird stuff happens. Dude, yeah, the royals, man, it just devastates them. You know what I mean? Those royal families, they couldn't have babies. A lot of them had trouble reproducing, right?
Yeah. Look at this, actual blue blood. And it's like, that's not a good thing.
That's concerning.
Yeah. When you prick them and it doesn't turn red when it hits the oxygen.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a thing?
That's the thing. Some people, so if they prick their finger and it comes up and it's still blue, bright blue.
Are you serious? That's a real thing? Does that mean they have excess copper in there? I've heard there's some species it might be cephalopods, pods. They instead of iron, because we use iron, and I think that's what makes our blood red when it exposes to oxygen. Yeah. But they use copper to carry oxygen instead of iron, and so their blood is blue.
So you're saying lizard men are real? They're conspiracy there.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
You ever seen those videos where they're like, "Oh, look at." This politician, he's really a lizard man because his eyes blink twice. Yeah. One blink. Like a frog.
Blinkety blink, 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 blink.
It's like, no, he just blinked and...
Yeah.
But whatever. Oh no, he's laying eggs. Look at him.
He's laying eggs. Oh, birds. We said this before. I think birds were an advanced species, man.
They
really
were
think
dinosaurs.
that, if there was aliens, that fucking, birds would be aliens.
They used to be the...
I love birds, dude. I'm a bird lover. I'm a lover of birds.
Birds are nice. It's just that they evolved from being dinosaurs,
Yeah, they did.
And then they were raptors.
Dude, I just saw an article that birds, they found out that they've actually coexisted with birds with dinosaurs for a while.
Really?
So I used to think, raptors evolved into birds, but I think it's actually that raptors and birds had a common ancestor.
Okay.
So I think that they actually have found some evidence. The problem is birds, their bones are really soft and frail, right?
Yeah, they're hollow.
And they're they're unlikely to get stuck in the mud because they're fucking birds. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I think we just don't have a lot of fossil evidence of birds, but they're starting to find some evidence that birds actually coexisted with dinosaurs. So they evolved even earlier. So they branched off from dinosaurs even earlier than we thought. You know what I mean?
So not a lot of inbreeding for the birds.
Yeah, I don't even know. Probably not. One nice thing about being a bird is you can go anywhere to find a mate.
The bird, inbreeding in the birds and the little egg hatches. It's like a lizard. And the birds just look at each other and kick it out of the nest. That's where dinosaurs come from. Mm-hmm. Get out.
I wonder if that evolved because you have all these species of wasp and stuff like that, right?
Insects,
that will they'll use someone else. They'll put their egg in someone else's nest or in someone else's egg. Actually, they'll lay eggs in another creature's egg.
Insects are really messed up because they'll lay their eggs in another living thing.
Yeah.
And then let that hatch off and then feed off the living thing.
Yeah.
And then go out and reproduce more.
But I've heard even worse. They'll actually lay their eggs inside of another egg.
Yeah, they'll do that
And
too.
then they'll have the mother or the father, the caretaker of that, raise their offspring for them. You know what I mean? Basically.
You heard about the zombie ants, right?
No.
Where it's like a type of, I forget what it is, either a fly or a wasp will land in the nest of like ants.
Okay.
And then they'll let themselves get eaten, but they contain a spore within them that affects the ants.
No
and it goes,
fucking way.
Yeah, it goes right to their brain. And it'll tell the ant to climb up to the highest point where the moss or the fungus will start growing off it and take in sunlight, fall off, and then restart the process all over again. When moss and a fungus can tell a living being to do that, right?
That's messed up, dude. That is messed up. We talked about sort of like these pre-programmed memories, like fear of spiders.
Yeah.
I'd imagine it's a similar structure that the moss is using. It's like it's evolved to trigger to latch onto just the right neural pathway and stimulate it, and that just causes this ant to go up. You know what I mean?
So at first it affects the wasp or fly or whatever it is to go fly to a nest, get eaten, and then affect the whole colony.
That's so crazy, dude. Where were we? Sparta. Shield walls.
Oh yeah, the old technique.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Continue.
they all get together, link shields. And that's effective against spears and everything else. But again, the diversity of someone else, they come with a tank. Not much use there.
I wonder how big of a shield wall you'd need to prop up a tank.
Pretty damn big. You're going to need like 8 rows of like different people.
The thing about a tank, though, is realistically, like if you're in like an urban situation, right? Like the tank can only fire so fast.
True.
So you can crawl up on top of it and then set it on fire. And here's the thing about tanks is you don't even have to break into the tank, right?
No.
You just have to like create enough heat that the occupants of the tank don't want to be in the tank anymore.
Yeah.
Right?
You remember in Saving Private Ryan where they took axle grease and made the bomb sticky and then stuck it to the tank? Mm-mm. You never saw that? Okay.
No.
So you would take socks, pretty much your socks, put the detonation device, line it with axle grease, and then slam it against the tank, and it would stick.
Dang.
Yeah. That's how they used to defeat tanks going down the cities. Saving Private Ryan, he's at the end, and he's just firing like his handgun at the tank. He's like, I ain't gonna die. Keeps firing until an airplane blows up the tank. Yeah.
I never actually saw that movie.
You never did?
No, I've heard that it's one that you need to watch, but I don't know if I'm gonna have the stomach for it. I've heard it's pretty.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's a different movie I'm thinking of. Is it not?
Are you thinking of Child's Play 5?
Yeah, Chucky 4.
Chucky 4.
No, yeah, I don't know.
Return to Vietnam.
Return to Vietnam. Chucky is like, climbs out of a ditch.
I'm going to go out there and I'm going to win the war. Wow.
Yeah.
They really took it far from the original series.
And then it cuts to Bride of Chucky and she's like...
World War II.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, the point is I'm trying to make is, dude, there's thermodynamics is something interesting to learn about, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So if you kill the people inside through heat.
Yeah.
Oh, a heat ray. That's another thing the Greeks had.
Just fucking get a microwave, dude. Just blast it with a microwave.
There were 500 microwaves per person in ancient Greece.
Exactly, yeah. Seriously, though, you know what I mean? Just focus a couple beans of microwaves on that fucker, dude. They are going to have a bad day.
What was the scientist's name of ancient Greek?
Plato?
I think Plato.
Socrates.
Or one of the two.
Someone else.
They said they had a giant death ray.
Are you serious?
Yeah, like a bunch of mirrors mounted on a boat, and they would focus the
Dude, they could totally do that, dude. Just get a couple mirrors. Yeah.
But, the ancient Greece, they never seen that,
You could, interesting, because that's technology that you can build, like me and you can build.
Yeah.
You can go get some sand, heat it up, and create a mirror, you know what I mean? And then fucking, you got a laser. You know what I mean? And then you just, the sun is your laser, right?
Yeah.
You got a fusion machine in the sky that you don't ever have to maintain that powers your laser, and you've got a fucking like gigawatt laser that you can fire. That's fucking crazy. I didn't even think about that. Like you get rolled back that far in time.
Yeah.
You got to worry about raiders and shit. laser warfare, man. You just fucking build a gigawatt laser.
Just a giant
Yeah.
solar
They got
panel
tanks, and
array.
you're like, lasered,
Yeah.
lasered. You got a drone coming in the sky, lasered.
The ancient Greeks had a lot of drones.
yeah. That's interesting. There's some of this old tech that's more powerful than all the fucking shit that we build today. It's just a fucking, a mirror.
Yeah.
A mirror can create a weapon that is more powerful than like probably 99% of the weapons that we build today. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, we still have some pretty impressive, because the crossbow at the time was like the most advanced thing you could do.
Mm-hmm.
When you had an archer who could only shoot 5 arrows per like 3 minutes,
Okay, yeah.
but then you had a crossbow who could launch a volley of arrows within a couple of seconds.
Have you actually watched crossbow versus old bow?
I've seen those.
Crossbows are not faster.
Well, they're not.
They took forever to reload.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about like
The classical archer is going to be much faster. The reason the crossbow stuck is because it didn't require skill to shoot.
True, because if you could arm a man who didn't know anything about shooting and just let him shoot, that's why guns are so popular right now.
Right, exactly. Because you can kill someone without any training or skill or discipline, which is what makes them dangerous, right?
Yeah.
There's something to be said about weapons requiring a certain amount of discipline, because then only the disciplined can use them to a certain degree, right? Obviously, that
I think we kind of lost that, discipline and the ability to use a weapon after like, I guess World War I, really.
Yeah.
Because they become so prevalent,
There's a video on YouTube you should watch, though, by the way. They have this pro archer, and he's shooting like is it in pounds, like a 7-pound bow, 6-pound bow, something like that?
Okay, it's like a normal
maybe
bow.
that's the length, 6-foot bow. Anyway, the draw strength is incredible. This guy's built like a fucking tank, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Upper body, because that's how much strength it took to shoot that bow, and daily physical training.
Yeah.
To be able to shoot that bow. So the point is, the crossbow, it took way longer to shoot a crossbow, because you can't just draw it. You have to like use a machine to crank it, you know what I mean? To get that sort of same amount of torque or whatever.
Okay.
Or whatever, or tension, right?
Yeah.
And so it took forever to load the crossbow, but it didn't take physical strength. Right, and that's why anyone could shoot it, because as long as you could spin the little wheel,
Yeah, you'd be fine.
you could shoot it.
Why don't you have the Van Helsing version where he loaded it like a submachine gun with a bunch of arrows?
Yeah, right.
We're going to go get a vampire.
Yeah. Just use a submachine gun. Yeah.
Oh no, my crossbow jammed. Stupid Van Helsing.
Stupid Van Helsing. He
he was
also uses a
prejudiced.
crossbow. Is okay. I finally saw Birds of Prey,
Oh yeah, okay.
and there's a girl in there who uses a crossbow, an assassin. They destroyed her character, and they
course.
destroyed the movie. I was disappointed, man. I was so excited because I'd heard good things
I still
about
haven't
it.
seen the movie, but yeah.
I watched it. I was expecting good things. Honestly, the first maybe 20 minutes was okay. There was a good character arc in that, but then it was just like an hour and a half of just random shit.
It flatlined real fast.
Yeah. Well, all the character growth stops after the first maybe 15, 20 minutes of the main character, and then the rest of it is just random action sequence after that has no impact on her character, has no impact on anyone else in the scene.
Oh, of course.
It's like if they took the first 20 minutes and then the last 2 hours, if they had compressed that into like 5 minutes,
Yeah.
then it would have been a good movie. It'd have been a good 30-hour like TV show, but a 30-minute TV show.
30 hours?
A
I was
good
like,
30
wow.
And then they stretched that over 30 hours
So you get one frame
yeah.
per day.
per day. It would have been a good like 30-minute episode, because there was actually some good character growth in the beginning, but then they did like 30 minutes of just
Nothing.
like it just drags it out, and nothing changes from that point forward. The character doesn't change at all. They do their full arc in the first like 15 minutes, and then that's it. And then
Have you seen the other Joker,
Done.
the serious one? Walking Phoenix
not yet.
Joker?
I still want to watch that one.
Yeah, watch that one.
So fucking, I don't know whoever did Birds. Fucking DC, they suck. Oh, I was trying to figure out. I figured out, by the way, Justice League. I didn't realize was directed by 2 directors.
Okay.
So Joss Whedon was one of them, but the other one was starts with an S. The last name starts with an S. Skyer. I'm totally off. Sycamore. Skyler. The fuck is his name? Anyway, so now I have to figure out.
Did he do 300?
Who is it? Maybe who is responsible for the badness that was Justice League? Is it Joss Whedon?
I guess it's a kind of a toss-up, because it's not really either one of the directors. It could have been more one director and a bunch of producers. they're like, hey, it'd be great if you could like, throw this guy in for no apparent reason.
Yeah.
And just make him show up. It's the third movie. You gotta have 3 villains, because that's what, Spider-Man 3 was so bad because they said, hey, you want, at first he's like, I just want to do Sandman. The Sandman arc is good.
Mm-hmm.
I like the Sandman arc, but then they're like, you know what? Throw Venom in there. Oh yeah, and then throw Hobgoblin too. Yeah, just put 3 villains in.
And rewrite the backstory from the first movie.
Yeah, it makes no sense, but whatever. Yeah, you get those notes,
Yeah. Oh man, I'm starting to burn out, dude.
But
I don't know how much more I have left in me.
Starts with an S.
Yeah.
Samsonite.
Swanee,
Sweeney.
We were way off. Swenson. They're like right there.
Yeah.
You're like, Samsonite. Dude, I'm burning out. Ladies and gentlemen. I'm burning out. Somebody make a song about burnout.
Burnout was a good game.
Yeah. Fucking A, dude.
All right, so we talked on Spartans. We talked on diversity, bugology, bird sex. Yeah. Bird.
What is that, Bambi?
Yeah.
Bird.
Bambi's
a great study on weakness.
And
genocide.
His mom gets shot and he's just like, okay. Fire happens.
Yeah. Fire.
Beavis is there.
Beavis and Butthead, man. I wish they didn't bring that back.
No, they did, and it didn't work.
It didn't work out?
No.
Oh, I got to see it.
Okay.
Kind of, maybe I shouldn't.
Not really, because you think of MTV now.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Was it the same guy doing it? Was it Mike? Who's the guy?
Mike Judge.
Mike Judge, right?
Yeah.
He's fucking amazing. Is he doing anything else? I've seen it. What have I seen last of him? I saw because he did the Idiocracy, right? That's Mike Judge.
He was Idiocracy.
King of the Hill. Anything else he's doing?
Nothing really. He hasn't done anything.
All right.
That I can think of.
Sorry, man.
Yeah.
Justin.
I
gotta adjust. Okay, well, everybody say fuck you to Michael Bay this week.
Do your
due diligence.
Yep.
And what's the studio that runs him also? Panasonic. It's not Panasonic.
No.
Sorry, Panasonic. Paramount. That's the one. Samsonite. Swammy Swanson. Paramount. Yeah. Say fuck you to them too.
I'm trying to think of the director you're saying ends with an S. Not Michael Bay.
It's not Scorsese. It's not Sykes. It's not Sarah Cruz. It's not
Sarah. I think he did do 300.
Okay, hold on. For the audience. Yeah. Okay, say something interesting. I'm doing a live search here.
Oh, people did stuff a long time ago, and the ancient Greeks had 300 microwaves per person. And Snyder, yes.
Zack Snyder.
That's who it is.
Yeah.
He did 300.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, then he's awesome.
He did 300. He did that movie with Batman.
Here's the thing is I do think that some directors sometimes rely a little bit on improv actors.
Okay.
And so what you might have is a situation where Joss Whedon relies on a lot of improv acting, but wasn't allowed to do the casting because he came second. Mm-hmm. So Zack Snyder may have hired actors that he could work with. And then you go over to Joss Whedon, and he would have, if he would have been in charge of casting, maybe he would have cast actors that are better at improv. And so he maybe leans on that a little bit, right? So on the one hand, he's leaning on it. On the other hand, he's allowing for it. You're allowing the improv actors to kind of drive a little bit, which can be good. They can work amazingly well if you've cast correctly.
Yeah.
But if you are, if one director who leans on a certain type of actors that they cast has to work with actors that someone else cast, you could potentially get a clusterfuck that way. And maybe that's what happened. Then maybe they're both directors in their own right that are decent.
Do you think Ben Affleck is kind of like that or no?
Maybe. Oh, an improv actor? I don't think Ben Affleck is an improv actor.
No.
I think that's the problem. I don't think he is an improv actor at all. He may be like a method actor, I think, a little bit. I don't think he's an improv actor. I don't think he's ready to dialogue on the fly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the problem.
He just seems more like the kind of guy that would come. He's like, I'm here to do my job. I do my job. I'm done.
I don't think any of the, yeah. Well, I think he put work into it. Don't get me wrong. I think Ben Affleck is someone who would put work into it. I just don't think he knows how to fill his problems. I don't think he goes to the shoot expecting to be able to come up with dialogue on the fly.
That's the thing, because
or put his own spin on the dialogue.
You know, you see these actors like you see in the Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
You have like Captain America, and he kind of does like that whole thing with Falcon or anything.
Right.
You know, as co-host. You know, it's like
a lot of that banter.
Yeah.
is ad hoc.
Yeah.
Or at least derived from the source script.
Yeah.
All right. And that's common, and it usually can lead to really, really compelling stuff. Because you have what the writer put together, which is maybe one or two people, right? And their problem space is somewhat limited, but then you marry that.
Yeah.
Again, diversity. This is diversity of ideas. Same thing. Inbreeding exists not just in genetics, but also in the idea space. Creativity comes from diversity of ideas.
Yeah.
Right? And so you have an actor that comes and bring their own flavor. And the more they're allowed to or empowered to do that, the better. But if you hire young actors or actors that aren't experienced or haven't been given a lot of opportunity to do that sort of improv acting, you can get really stale scripts.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Even just stale scripts, because they're not trained to, say, I am this character. And then they work in day-to-day kind of things like dialogue with other characters. So they're still the superhero, and they're bantering like it's normal. But then you have the actors who are just like, I am the hero. This is my persona. I'm going to stick to it. So take Ben Affleck versus Captain America. So you got him. He comes in. He's like, hey, he talks in the Batman voice. He does his old Batman spiel, and he kind of works in some jokes here and there.
Oh, they were painful.
Yeah, and you don't land. They don't land at all.
And there's the fucking Aquaman joke that he makes at Wonder Woman's expense, which is just I fucking hate that line. You know what I mean?
But then you got like Captain America, who is like, he's like, ah, shit, and then you got Iron Man going, language, that kind of lands, because you think of his character as the wholesome all-American guy who would never do that. But then you realize, hey, he is just another person who has these powers, though. And you're like, hey, give him some slack. But then they start teasing him. Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah,
that moment is so good. That moment is all you need. There wasn't a single one of those moments in Justice League, and that's the type of moment that makes or breaks the movie.
And that's what's the difference between Marvel and DC, because in the comic book realm, you have Marvel, who tells these outlandish stories, and they make up these outlandish characters who are just living their lives, but with powers and trying to get by.
Yeah.
And you have
Spider-Man, he's got problems with his girlfriend, you know what I mean?
Problems with the girlfriend, trying to get by, saving people, getting beat up by Doc Ock or whoever.
Right.
But he's getting by, he's doing his thing. But in DC, it's all about the brooding,
It's Superman, yeah. It's just brooding, exactly. That's so alien and out of touch from anything that you can connect to.
I mean, take a look at the Superman movie, what they did last time. It was all about him being the allegory of Jesus, right?
Yeah. Which he always is. He's always taken that way.
Yeah.
Superman, I don't think it's ever going to be possible. People say it's hard to make Superman movies. I think it's impossible. Yeah. Because he is a character that is, if you do him justice, if you actually do his character the way his character is supposed to be, true to form, he's not relatable.
No.
And you can't enjoy, he would play a better villain.
He is more of a villain now. I think in today's eyes, he is more of not the Boy Scout saving everyone who can defeat everything. He is more the villain,
because you can relate to him lashing out at humanity more than you can relate to him wanting to protect humanity. You know what I mean? Kind of like the who's the guy in what's that comic book series? They did the movie The Clock. There's the guy with the face mask.
Oh, Watchmen,
and they have the blue guy.
Dr. Manhattan.
Dr. Manhattan. So I see Superman as a better analog to Dr. Manhattan.
Dr. Manhattan is an interesting character because he retains his humanity only like a fraction of it. So stuff that would horrify people, like, have you seen the movie?
Yeah.
Okay. Where the comedian shot that Vietnamese girl who was pregnant.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, you're losing touch. He turns to Dr. Manhattan and he's like, you could have turned the bullet to snow. You could have turned the bullet to water. You could have saved her, but you didn't, And he tells him that, and he's like, you're losing your humanity. You could have stopped me at any time, but you just sat there. So you're just an observer. You're not even part of our group. That's how the comedian was telling him, you're not human anymore. You're not us. But it's like Dr. Manhattan, he just sees like everything in his own logical ways. Like, I can see the universe moving. I can see time, you know?
Yeah.
But he won't interfere unless he feels compelled to.
Yeah.
But yeah, he, again, likened to Superman, he's just like, why would Superman even care, right?
Why would he care? He has they at no point have I ever seen a story that gave him a reason to care, except Lois Lane.
That's just the MacGuffin, you know?
Yeah, but it's not.
I love this girl, so I'm going to stick around.
It's so external. It's so surface. There's nothing internal inside of him.
You could say Superman is like a perfect simp story. You know, like how they say men who are whipped. He's the perfect whipped superhero.
Yeah, but those usually don't, in real life, those don't usually turn out well.
No, never.
You know what I mean? And that's the problem that I think we have with it, is in real life, if his only reason to be here for humanity is Lois Lane, and he's that enamored with her, usually in romanticism, in romantic, whatever.
Yeah.
She's going to be pushed away by that.
You would think,
and that creates a souring situation. That can turn him. You know what I mean?
At any moment, you know. I mean, you would think the government would be like ready for this. Is if she dies, they make a clone.
Yeah,
they're like, here you go.
Look, nothing can happen to her.
Yeah,
she is what's keeping right. But that's like a horrible thing too. Like, I hate that.
That's kind of like having a living nuclear bomb that only wants one thing. It's like, I want cheeseburgers.
Yeah.
So you give the bomb.
She becomes like a slave for humanity, basically, to like keep humanity alive. Like that's effed up. But that's the most real way that would go down, though. You know what I mean? As effed up as that is, that's the most real human character you can put on Superman. You know what I mean?
That'd be an interesting picture, like villain. Superman, like Jabba the Hutt with Lois Lane as Leia in chains.
Someone needs to do that with concept art.
That'd be awesome.
Some artist. I don't know if we can feature that. I don't know if we can give you. I don't know. We'll put it somewhere.
Green screen.
Put your name on it. I don't know. That would be cool, though. Yeah.
That'd be awesome to see. But yeah, I mean, he has no real reason to be here. He's like, oh, this is my home now. I like it here.
Yeah, because
give him 50 acres.
just go. You can survive in outer space. There's other yellow stars. Go be somewhere else.
There's other yellow stars.
Yeah.
You know there's other places. Superman's the ultimate immigrant.
Yeah. No, we don't take too kindly to Supermen's around here.
We don't like your kind. He just pushes you through the wall. Yeah. Okay, we kind of do now.
Yeah. I accept you.
I like you now. Just put you through the wall.
All right, guys, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Oh yeah! All right, if you're still with us here on Splayed, smash that like button if you can. If you're not, if you're driving, then fucking just
hit the like, get your horn.
Yeah, honk your horn for us. But yeah, if you're somewhere where you can smash the like button, hit subscribe if you like what you see. We're hoping to keep bringing more awesome chill ass content to you guys. You know what I mean? Hopefully just make your week a little bit more smoother, make that ride a little bit more pleasant, a little more enjoyable. You know what I mean?
And something to think about.
More human.
Diversify
for
with
strength.
Us.
Yes, diversify for strength. Okay. Peace out.
Yep.
Have a chill ass week on Splayed.